By the way, today is Transgender Remembrance Day, and we remember them. We remember them. You know, this is the seed of unity in the world right here, right now. This is the seed that we believe in and we trust. And remember, from the seed comes the entire tree. So this morning, I want to talk about stop thinking and start thanking. Our spiritual principle is gratitude, and gratitude is just not some emotion, y'all. Gratitude is our response to creation, that we understand and we know and we can be thankful because all of our needs are met. And then we get a whole lot of things we want to. So gratitude's more than an emotion. It's something deep within us. It is the thing that carries us when doubt and fear present themselves in our lives. It is the thing that carries us across the chasm of where I am to where I'm going to go. So gratitude is this power. Gratitude is the power behind your affirmation. That's the power behind your affirmation. It's not because you say it a lot. It's because you have a recognition on the other side that even though I don't experience this in my life right now, I can speak it as truth because God is faithful. It's not that we're faithful, because I'm not always faithful. I debated long and hard whether or not I would see you this morning. I didn't say anything out loud, but I thought about it. And there was a few people out there trying to discourage me to do it too. But you speak your word in gratitude before it manifests in your life because you know it to be true because God is faithful. So worry, my friends, is not a spiritual practice. It's really not a spiritual practice. Do you know anybody who can sleep through anything? They can always go to sleep. No matter what the circumstances are, no matter how bad things are, no matter what's in the news, whatever's going on, they can sleep. I want to be one of those folks because I'm really not. I will fall asleep. I have no problem falling asleep, probably because I'm just so exhausted. But I get to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning. Now, please understand, I get up at 4:15 every day. So 2 a.m. is the good time of my sleep. And somehow or another, this is when all of my fear visitates me. And I get up, and I wish I could tell you that the first thing I do is affirm and pray. And I focus on all the manifestations of all the divine in my life and everything that is manifesting. And the affirmation that I wrote for Sunday is ringing in my head. And the one that is coming to light as well. And I think of all of you and I pray for all of you. Well, let me tell you something, honey. It don't work like that. Okay? When I wake up, my first natural response is, oh, God, how did I end up in this? I wasn't trying to end up in this, but I ended up in this. And then what happens is something we don't recognize, but Ernest Holmes taught affirmative prayer and spiritual mind treatment. He says, you start with your list of denials. Because the circumstances in my life, I have to remind myself that none of those circumstances have power of their own. They only have power over me if I feed it with fear. And so I have to be able to look beyond the condition, and the only way I can start that is to deny that whatever is in my life and everything that I have to deal with has no power if I choose to exert my power. Then I get to the point where I can pray affirmatively. But I don't stop until I get there. And once I can pray affirmatively, it takes that whole experience for me. Now, it feels like Father Time stops the clock at 2 a.m. It's a long time until I get there sometime. I walk the floor, I'm wide awake, and eventually I get there. I get over it all. And maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe you all rest well. I would too if I took a pill. So I have to remind myself of the good that has been prepared for me, that is an absolute part of my life. So I am in the book, Thank and Grow Rich. And growing rich in this book has to do with having an enriched life. You know that you are peaceful and you are calm and you are rejoicing and that you have decided to just be an overcomer. It's not just about material riches. It's about the attitude by which we approach life. And you can, to every point in time in your life, you are going to have to choose how and where you're going to deal with it. Everything in life presents itself as a storm. Now, metaphors in our belief structure are to let us know, number one, whatever the scene is, we're every one of the characters. The second thing is that the metaphor has a meaning larger than the dictionary definition. A storm. What is a storm when you are in a storm? Well, what happens? There is rain. The ship rocks. You're worried that water is going to come over and may capsize the whole thing. But the hardest part is you cannot see the shore on the other side. And this is when we get fearful because we can't see the manifestation that we believe to be true for our lives. And sometimes not just believing for it to be true, it's a necessary need. See, it's really, we can talk all day about the things that we want, but what if the manifestation in your life is something that is essential? And you feel that you have to remind the Spirit, knock, knock, knock. Have you figured out that I really need this to happen? Now, we get encouraged from this whole experience because we're never cut off. We're never separated. But it's that storm. The storm has strange noise. That at the same time that you see lightning in the sky, there's all of these grumbles and noises. And that's what happens in the storm. In our experiences in life, sometimes we hear all kinds of things and we see all kinds of things and it scares us. And we sit there with anticipation and the next thing you know, something happens. And when we are fearful, we are always waiting for the next bad thing to happen. And so we have to remind ourselves that the good that is in front of me is what has the power because the Spirit is empowering that, as opposed to my fear, which is only empowered by me. God transcends our fear, but God did not create that scenario. I got myself in that mess. I used my own volition and got myself in that experience. So the classic story about shifting consciousness in a storm is Jesus on the boat. And Jesus is asleep. And everyone in the passengers on the boat are racked up. They are totally excited. And they wake him up and say, "Don't you know that we are about to perish?" Do you know people who feel they have to soak you up into their storm? That you cannot be calm in a difficult situation because obviously you're not in touch with your feelings. Because they need you to get caught up in their storm when you want to be calm. You may be in denial, but that's fine as long as you remember that the denial is the power in the event. But here they are. And so Jesus says to them, what is your problem? Why are you so upset? Oh, ye of little faith. Because, see, you don't need faith when you know. You need faith when you don't know. Because when you don't know, you have to have something to hold on to. And that's what we do in faith, that the principle is what we hold on to when the world seems like it is falling apart. And we tell the story that Jesus said to the wind and the waves, "Peace, be still." But in the metaphor, he was saying to the passengers, "Peace and be still." Because you can go through life and fear not and be not afraid because you are not in this all by yourself. And you can move from fear and anxiety to gratitude, because gratitude is where you're going to shift your consciousness from the fear and the anguish to the belief and the faith of what is possible in your life. So she gives us 30 days of exercises. She says, you need to play a party game. each day for the next 30 days for you to learn how to experience gratitude. Why would you do this? Because what happens when you have a party game? Everyone gets involved, you get to laugh at each other, and it's all okay, and you get caught up in the energy of the scenario, and you have a good time even though you had made up your mind before you got there that you were not going to have a good time. Or maybe that's just me. Okay? So you've made up your mind. But the party game. But she says the point of the party game is this, is that you have to look for the pudding. You got to look for the pudding. What's the pudding? The proof. You have to go through life and celebrate in the party expecting the good to come. Now, she's the same person that wrote the book E Squared, which gives a number of exercises to illustrate that we are in control of our own reality. So everything about her writing has to do with the pudding. So whatever you have been waiting for, whatever wakes you up in the middle of the night, and believe me, I woke up, I think, what time did you get my email this morning? Okay, late, I was late. But I had already been up for 2 hours because that's what happened. But I wasn't going to write the email in my fear. I waited until I had made my connection with my inner being. And I moved from there to grateful. And why am I grateful? Because even though they cut the line and we're separated from the utilities, who has somebody in their life with a 500-gallon tank? I do. So that's the proof in the pudding. It manifests in your life. So all of these things can happen. And I'm not saying that what happened is just good. No, it ain't. And I'm very mad about the fact that it happened. But I always have to make a choice. Am I going to get sucked up in the fear and the anguish and how much is it going to cost and when it's going to do it? And all of the stuff what you call rumination. As opposed to looking to the experience that as I stood here, I didn't even know there was a problem until 10 o'clock yesterday. And by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we had a temporary solution so you could be here this morning. So learn to be thankful when you go through the storm. Not just just in fear, but thankful that the promise is on the other side when you get through the storm. But guess what? You're not even alone in the storm. And so it is. Ernest Holmes said, they asked him, how long should you pray? How long should you treat? He said, until it manifests. The proof is in the pudding. So whatever you have been waiting on, don't you stop believing until it manifests in your life. Be willing to receive it and all of the good that goes along with it. Let us pray, giving thanks and praise. Giving thanks and praise because we are just overcoming people. For some, life may be easy. I don't know what their life is like, but I know mine has been one experience after another of overcoming that I constantly am reminded that I am not in this by myself. And not only does the Spirit show up in my consciousness, but it shows up in the faces and the texts and the emails from other people where people say, just tell me what you need. That's all I heard yesterday. Just tell me what you need. Tell me what you need this morning. What time do you need me there? That is a blessing when you are in the storm. So I'm giving thanks for this and for all of the other things that are on their way, including those things that are on their way for you. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. It is.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try to keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. Gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, gotta be stronger. Gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know is love will save the day. Herald what your mother said, read the books your father read. Try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Others have more cash than you, but some may take a different view.